Leo pushed the door open hard, the wood slamming against the wall with a deafening thud. He kicked off his shoes, sending them flying into a dark corner of the living room. "I hate everything!" he screamed, his face red with a fury that seemed too heavy for a 10-year-old to carry. In the midst of this storm, his grandfather sat perfectly still by the window. He didn't flinch. He didn't speak. He just watched the chaos with eyes as calm as a deep, silent lake. Leo stood in the middle of the room, his chest heaving as he stared at the floor. The silence that followed his outburst was heavy, broken only by the ticking of the clock on the mantel. His grandfather slowly stood up, walked toward the door, and looked at the scuff marks left by Leo's shoes. "Leo," the old man said softly, his voice as steady as in anger. "I need you to do something very important. I want you to go to that door and apologize. And then, I want you to say sorry to your shoes." Leo froze. He looked at his grandfather with a mixture of confusion and disbelief. "Apologize? To the door?" he asked, his voice cracking. "It's just wood and metal, Grandpa. And my shoes are just leather. Have you gone crazy? They can't hear me." The grandfather didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He simply gestured toward the entrance with a gentle nod. "They may not have ears, but they felt your fire. Go on, say the words." Feeling ridiculous, Leo walked over to the door. He felt the cold brass of the knob against his palm. He looked back at his grandfather, hoping this was a joke, but the old man's expression remained serious yet kind. Leo leaned in, his face heating up with embarrassment. I'm sorry, door," he whispered. Then he turned to his shoes, lying messy in the corner. "I'm sorry I kicked you." As the words left his lips, something strange happened. The tight knot in his stomach began to loosen. By focusing on these objects, the wall of his ego started to crumble. He wasn't defending his actions anymore. He was acknowledging the damage his anger had caused to the world around him. He stood there for a long moment, looking down at his hands as the house became quiet once again. He realized that the anger wasn't just hurting his day, it was leaking out onto everything he touched. After Leo finished his quiet apology, his grandfather placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and led him to a large, antique mirror in the hallway. The silver surface was clear, reflecting the boy's messy hair and his still cloudy eyes. "Look closely, Leo," the old man whispered. "If you look at the mirror and see that you are scowling, would it make any sense to take a cloth and try to scrub the frown off the glass?" Leo shook his head, looking puzzled. "No, Grandpa, that wouldn't do anything. I'd have to stop scowling myself." The grandfather smiled, a warm light appearing in his eyes. "Exactly. The world around you, your friends, that door, even your failures at school, they are all just like this mirror. They only reflect what you carry inside. When your heart is full of fire, you look out and see a world that is burning. You think the door is your enemy or that the world is unfair, but you are only seeing the smoke from your own flame." He took a step back, letting Leo stare at his own reflection. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fix the mirror. They shout at others, they blame their tools, and they try to break the glass because they don't like the image they see. But fixing the mirror won't change your face. If you want to see a world that is peaceful and kind, you must first bring the water of peace into your own soul. Leo stayed quiet, watching the boy in the mirror. He realized that for the last hour, he'd been fighting shadows. He'd been angry at the reflection, forgetting that he was the one holding the brush. Anger is a fire that consumes the vessel it's kept in, his grandfather continued softly. But love and forgiveness are like water. They don't just put out the fire, they clear the dust off the glass so you can finally see things as they really are. Don't fight the mirror, Leo. Change the heart that looks into it. For the first time that day, the tension in Leo's face vanished. He reached out and touched the cool surface of the glass, finally understanding that the peace he was looking for wasn't outside in the world, but waiting deep within himself. Leo stood before the mirror for a long time, watching the tension slowly drain from his shoulders. He took a deep, shaky breath, and as he exhaled, the harsh redness in his eyes began to fade, replaced by a soft, quiet clarity. He turned away from the glass and looked at his grandfather, not with defiance, but with a newfound softness. "I'm sorry, Grandpa," he said, his voice barely a whisper. This time, the words weren't a forced ritual or a silly task. They came from a place of realization. He saw now how his inner fire had burned the very person who loved him most. The old man walked over and placed a warm hand on Leo's head. "It's okay to feel angry, Leo," he said with a compassionate smile. "Anger is not a sin. It is simply a signal, a loud alarm telling you that the mirror of your soul has become dusty. It is a reminder to stop looking at the world outside and to start looking within." Leo nodded, feeling a strange sense of peace wash over him. He realized that while he couldn't control the world, he could always control the heart that viewed it. In that quiet American living room, the storm had finally passed, leaving behind a sky that was clear and bright. From today's story, we learn a powerful truth. The world around us is merely a reflection of what we carry within. When we are consumed by anger, we try to fix the mirror, blaming others and our circumstances for our pain. But remember, fixing the mirror won't change your face. If you seek a world of peace, you must first find that peace in your own heart. Stay calm and remember that you hold the power to change your reflection. I wish you a peaceful journey. Like and share if this touched your heart, and I'll see you in our next lesson.